side, if you're working on a chain link fence and you're not sure exactly how to stretch it up, I'm going to go through all the methods that I use to stretch a chain link fence up from start to finish. And hopefully within the next 5 minutes, you'll have everything kind of taken care of on what you need to do. I'm going to hand the camera over right now, and I'm just going to go about my business as I would. And you can pick up on any tips that might be helpful on how to stretch. The first thing I do is go about midway and get a tie here. I use steel ties because they slide. Want to get a tension bar slid down into this area right here. And this is basically what we'll be pulling off of. You may be able to make one of these or get one of these from a fence store. It's basically called a stretching tree. It's got a few hooks on it. You want to hook this up under your bar. Like that. Over on this side, I use an extra band, but you can actually use a strap if you want to. I'll usually, if I'm on a double makeup, take one of these bands and flip it around and just put a nut in here, nut and a bolt. And I'll usually take the free end of the cable and set it right on this side so I have the come along in my hand with all the control. So this is going to be a little bit lower, try to match up similar where my height would be, and then I take the hook and I face the hook toward me. Now at this point right here, what you're going to want to do is just make sure the bar is slid up through the top of the chain link, like that. So when it's all connected, go ahead and put just a little bit of pressure on it. Kind of look across at that line to make sure it's straight. Now what will happen is, it'll start to grip these ties like this, and you'll want to advance it. So it'll pull in between each tie, and you'll see there's a sag in between the bay. So what I like to do is pull it up a little bit and then lift up in between each tie. Bang it around, take your pliers if you have to, and basically lift this up and either give it a little boot or a kick, and you want to get these lines straight in between the ties. Now I'm going to get you on the outside over here, and you can see what the fence looks like as we're tightening it up. You're going to be able to see that there's a bunch of dips, and the goal is to get these lines straight along with your framework. You should always follow your framework, so if you see any dips, you want to get the chain link straight in between by lifting it up, and all the pressure is going to pull through this first bay. So I'm going to put a couple more clicks on it, and I'm going to go down and kind of shake this out. So basically you want to stick your hand up in here and hold the frame down so that when you lift up, it doesn't pop your top rail off. So here we're at the point now where we've connected into the old chain link, and you can see if you squeeze with your hand, there's not a lot of play there, so you're tight. If you look back, you can see it's super straight right now. Now it's not the finished product, but I'll let you know you're pretty tight. So let's go down to the end, and this will be good enough to dress out later. Come up here now. Our job now is to basically get this section that's loose from the point where the tree pulled to the post. So you want to pull all your slack over, and then you want to come over here, and this is where your tension band is, and that's where you need to put the bar in the last picket. So I'll usually take my pliers and kind of stretch like this, and to see if that would take up the play. Looks like it'd be good enough to go in this one right here. So I'll usually cut this off, wiggle this picket, and just kind of follow this down. When you get to the bottom, make a clip. When you twist it once, it'll be the one that's sticking up. That's the one you want to take out. So basically get that strap out of the way, grab your bar, pretty much get ready to slide this in. Now it has this little tail, don't worry about that tail yet. We're gonna fold that over in a second. Slide your bar down. Now at this stage right here, you want to make sure that this doesn't get gapped out too much. Bend this knuckle over nice and tight now with some pressure on it. Basically, we're going to get this tool. It's a pull jack. It's designed for tightening fences up. It slides back and forth like this so it's adjustable. And what you do is you hook this into your bar. So get this up about where it goes. And honestly, I like to go, for the record, as close as I can to where it won't hit the rail end on the last tie so this doesn't sag on you. So go ahead and get really close to the rail end. Get that last tie on there and get everything nice and firm so when you pull with the pull jack, it gets a nice even pull. Want to make sure that bar is in like this. Now if you take your pull jack and set that bar in there, that'll pull your pressure. You can grab all your nuts and bolts and start putting these in one by one. Now, depending how tight you want that panel, it's up to you as the builder how many links you want to take out. I have enough pressure on the come along that I can tell you in between here right now is tight enough. When I let this off, this will rebound nicely with a little bit of pressure on it and kind of hold it tight. Just get ready to space all your bands out accordingly. You may not need the stretcher on every one. Like I said, I usually don't like to set it up where I'm fighting it. It should be kind of easy to put together. But there's two right there. We'll come up on the third, the fourth and the fifth, and basically that'll be the makeup. We'll let this off and just kind of take a look at it. So as you're moving along, you'll get better at your stretches on guessing how much you need to. And like I said, you can make that one picket tighter, but I have enough rebound on there where it's going to hold the fence nice and tight. So let's just take a look here in a second and we'll see how this will firm up. Because remember, we have the whole stretch of the fence that's going to rebound this little panel. So it's not imperative that you stretch this so tight that you're tweaking your bar and stuff like that. All right, so that's it. Now we'll take the pull jack off, and then we'll make sure our bar is where it needs to be. Lift this up just a little bit before you let the come along off, and then release the tension. Now when you come out here, you'll be able to look at this last section. Make your final adjustment right here. Do any raking out that you need to. And basically if you grab the fence now, it's tight. So where you just saw was a little bit loose, it all soaked it up. So that is basically how to stretch a fence and tie it in. If you want to further go ahead and see how this is tied on the inside, I'll give you one example. Everywhere you have a line post, go ahead and spot your line posts up at this height right here on each side of the line post before you tie anything else off. And this will make sure your grade is really good on top. Now for this panel, that's perfect. You can tie your line posts now if you feel like it and keep those in place. And basically that's how I set it up. I'll run along and pin these two, get the height up before I tie any line posts, and do that on every line post, and your fence will turn out perfectly every time. Hopefully you guys enjoyed those tips, and if you need any more tips, just go ahead and watch our playlist, how to build a chain link fence. That has all sorts of examples of tools and techniques you can use to build a nice looking fence for yourself. And if you ever look at the results of any of my fences and you like any of the looks, you'll definitely be able to benefit from the techniques shown when you're building your own fence to get that nice professional look. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. See you on the next one.